secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, October 11th, Monday, October 12th, for those of you across the pond and beyond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. So I'm so glad you guys could join us tonight. We are being broadcast by Michael W. Hall right now on Facebook. You can find us live as well on Spreaker.com. That's where our chat room is and a lot of the fun happens. As well as Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, SoundCloud, YouTube, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, as well as Podcast Addict. So tonight, we're going to do a lot of various different things. We're going to be talking to Michael W. Hall, and he is the founder and director of the UFOI team, and he's often known as the paranormal lawyer. And then into the second hour, we're going to be taking calls for anybody that would like to share their paranormal stories or weird happenings in their life. And then I'm also, like I was telling Michael, going to be reading from the Book of Urban Legends and so many interesting things in there. But welcome, Michael, and can you tell our listeners a little bit more about you?
Hey, Tessa, thank you for having me on. This is going to be a lot of fun tonight. We're going to have a late night, early morning, Sunday morning show and talking about all sorts of weird stuff, I'm sure, including UFOs, maybe Bigfoots, and all sorts of paranormal activity out there. I've been monikered as the paranormal lawyer for quite a while. I've been an attorney and Superior Court Judge Pro Tem out here in the state of Washington for over 30 years, but I've always been interested in UFOs, Bigfoot, the paranormal. As a matter of fact, back in the 70s, I was an actual field investigator for APRO, the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, with Jim and Coral Lorenzen back in Arizona. And also, I've represented over the years many ufologists as far as their, legal work and legal advice and those kinds of things. Started out with Peter Davenport and the National UFO Reporting Center back in the 90s. Still represent those guys. NARCAP, that was Dr. Richard Haynes' organization for the Pilot Reporting Agency. All the way back to Travis Walton's first investigator and the guy who regressed him right after his event, Dr. James Harder, was a client of mine back in the old days. And now I'm representing the guys from the USS Nimitz, the UFO encounter veterans and those kind of guys. So I've always kept my hand in there, and it's been so exciting to see what's been going on ever since, let's just pinpoint it, at December 16th of 2017, when the New York Times came out with the front page article that changed everything. All the decades that we've been studying and hoping and pushing, from Roswell on and well before that to try to get the truth. All of a sudden, the Department of Defense and the Pentagon, in black and white on the front page of the New York Times, confirmed that UFOs exist, and we've been studying them and spending millions of dollars. And now just recently, we're hearing from Dr. Eric Davis, in Popular Mechanics magazine just a few weeks ago, that we literally are in possession of downed craft, not made of this on this earth or made of human hands. So I don't know. We've come full force on this whole idea of disclosure, and things are happening so fast now. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, and it seems like, it kind of started off with a little, tinkle or whatnot about a year or two ago when certain evidence was released. But I don't know, since the COVID lockdown and all this other stuff going on, I don't know about you, but in our area, our sightings have actually gone up, and I've heard in different areas that there are tons of sightings that are happening all over the world.
You got it, Tessa. I tell you what, my client Peter Davenport from the National UFO Reporting Center was quoted in uh, the Wall Street Journal just 2 weeks ago, saying that the sighting reports that he's received at the National UFO Reporting Center are up 51% in this period of time during the COVID thing. Now, he says, it's hard to tell whether there's more sighting reports or whether people are staying home now and have more time to report. It's hard to tell that, but he believes that there's definitely an increase in sightings as well as reports.
Yeah, it's been insane, and that's what people have said. Well, the sighting or the events aren't happening more often. People are just noticing it more because, like you said, people were not working for a while. They're sitting at home. A lot of them have to be indoors because they live in apartment complexes or other places like that. But for me, I'm like, you're not keeping me inside. Like, I'm constantly outside during the day, spending my time. And it was about, I believe it was 2 months ago, my daughter and I are out there, and I see this thing in the sky about probably 5 or 6 blocks away. And I don't have my glasses. I lost them somewhere, but I can see this twinkling over this neighborhood. And my daughter Lily, who's 5, was like, "Mom, look, UFOs." And she could see clearly what was going on. And the funny thing is, my 16-year-old was in that very neighborhood, and her 3 friends said there were 3 very brilliantly like white lit orbs and doing this like triangle formation and just kind of zigzagging back and forth and changing locations, and then eventually they just shot off at a pace where you can't even track where they've gone. But it's been pretty intense.
Wow, that's quite an interesting sighting report. Firsthand from yourself there, that's exactly the kind of stuff that seemed to be happening more and more, where people are actually reporting these things, low-level sighting reports, not just like stars in the sky now. They're actually low-level, and they're doing these observables, that Luis Elizondo is talking about, hypersonic speeds, the whole idea of trajectories that are impossible for our physics, that kind of stuff. So it's almost as if whoever they are, ETs or whatever, advanced civilizations, they don't care anymore to hide themselves. They're definitely making themselves known.
Do you think there's a certain reason for them doing it? Is there like something coming on the cusp, or they just don't really care anymore about doing the whole hiding or being incognito?
That's my thought as well. I've gone kind of 2 ways with that idea. Either something amazing has already happened, and basically they are now just going to, kind of like get the thing out in front of everyone, or something amazing is about to happen, and we are being prepared as, a consciousness level on the planet to handle it, because there is nothing that can explain the fact of disclosure happening so quickly within the last few years and recently months. I mean, literally, I'm old enough to realize that, for decades, the government has been denying the whole idea of extraterrestrials. That's what Project Blue Book was all about. Try to debunk, and keep a lid on all those sighting reports. But then again, something happened where all of a sudden, like we said, December 16th of 2017, the New York Times, the Pentagon actually comes out and starts confirming things. The Navy then publishes these gun camera videos, and come out, and then the Department of Defense and the Pentagon say, oh yeah, by the way, those are real gun camera footage. It's not just hoaxed. I mean, that was a shocker. And now, of course, the issue of the Admiral Wilson smoking gun memo leak of the century is out there, and people are talking about, the fact that we've got crash retrieval programs with the military, and the fact that we've got craft that we're studying, trying to figure out how they work and all that kind of stuff. The Bob Lazar story. We have never seen this level of disclosure in our lifetimes.
It's pretty insane. And when you mentioned the crash retrieval team or whatnot, even when it's happening in other countries, it seems like it's America that goes in and gathers all this stuff. Do you think that there's some sort of agreement between countries where they're allowing this, or do you think like we're ever overstepping our boundaries and going in and taking other people's toys, basically?
Well, first of all, I think that there is something much higher than any government on the planet. Let's put it that way. There are certain people who are in charge of the earth anyway, and there's certain agendas that basically transcend national boundaries. Just because the United States seems to be the one that always shows up in Virginia, or any kind of Peru, crash site or something, that's just potentially because we probably got the technology to be able to suppress whatever's going on or at least scoop it up real quick. But literally, I think that there is a group out there, the powers that be, whoever they are, literally are calling the shots on this thing. But the interesting thing is, for some reason, it seems to be that the powers that are in charge of the planet are now realizing they're going to have to get the public on board for this whole idea. I mean, for the first time in history, I think, every planet basically that have life on it, I believe, in the universe, gets to a point in their evolution where they realize that they're not alone in the universe. I think most planets get to that point if they've survived this long, like we have, and probably hundreds and thousands and millions of them have already gone well beyond that. But I think we are now approaching that time. And our planet, where literally the entire planet itself is going to realize that we're not alone in the universe, never have been. And I think probably the powers that be realize that they need to get ahead of the spin on that knowledge that's coming down the road. Otherwise, if they don't, and we wake up one morning and there's a UFO over every state capital, all of a sudden they're going to lose control.
Yeah, and it's funny, they're kind of behind as far as coming out and having disclosure. I mean, even the Catholic Church came out and already admitted that there are, other life forms from other planets that do exist. And so, I don't know, with all these shows like Ancient Aliens and other things like that, I think that is trying to educate us as people, especially people that aren't into this sort of thing, like you and I and other people that we know, to help them to be able to wrap their minds around the fact that there is something else out there, because they've been telling us forever, this doesn't exist, and it was just, some swamp gas or whatever else it may be, weather balloon. Give me a break. Like, this is obviously not that. But it's pretty intriguing. And there's so many different craft being seen, even really, really big ones. Like, I call it a mothership, but who am I to say, like, this mothership could actually be way smaller than what an actual mothership is. But it's just so intriguing, and just the times we're in with the COVID and how people reacted to that. I somewhat understand now why they did keep stuff from us for a while, because I mean, people running around like chickens with their heads cut off and buying enough toilet paper to build a toilet paper fort with, this is not a disease of the other end, this is the lungs. So I'm having trouble trying to grasp everything around me, but we're definitely in some interesting times right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of these things that I believe, like you were talking about the church, the Catholic Church and stuff. I believe there is a major paradigm shift that folks like yourself and myself, others out there that really have been studying this stuff for a long period of time, I think we have a role to play in helping getting the public, the general public really needs to be red pilled to get over the paradigm shift that's going to be just amazing. We've always thought, well, what would it be like if all of a sudden the religions of the world realized that their little snippet of reality is not the whole idea? That is going to be a major paradigm for a lot of folks to get over, and I think that's kind of why you and I, Nicole, Tessa, are doing our stuff, on social media and on the internet and radio is that there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to need some help. And literally, I think that's one of our roles to play in the future.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but it seems like not only have UFO sightings and such increased, but it seems like paranormal activity has as well. And we are in October where they say that the veil thins, but I've gotten contacted so many times by different people reaching out for help because things are just off the cuff as far as hauntings and such going on. Have you heard of that with any of your friends, or have you experienced anything like that?
Well, yes. I mean, the whole idea of our consciousness raising to a certain level, maybe we're going to get to the fourth and fifth dimensions here relatively soon. I think we're going to find out that everything is connected somehow. I mean, UFOs, spirits, the veil being thin, all of that is just rising to a consciousness level of realizing what reality really is. And I think that's exactly what's going on. I think things are becoming much more intense. The sighting reports of UFOs are going off the wall, and paranormal activity in general is increasing astronomically, I believe, as well. If you just look on the internet of how many ghost television series there are, investigation television series, on cable channels and all that kind of stuff. That is exactly what people are interested in at this point. And I think there's a reason why they're interested. I think the entire consciousness level of the planet is drastically raising right now. And once you figure out, it's almost like a domino effect. Once you figure out one of these mysteries, I think the rest of them are going to come right after that.
It's been amazing, and like you said, more people are coming forward and sharing these things. Back in the day, you couldn't do that really because you'd receive so much judgment and ridicule, and even a backlash from the government when it comes to UFOs and sightings, and them wanting you to retract it. I've heard people talk about, we talked about Blue Book, but Blue Beam, and how these sightings are just the government playing with blue beam and making these things appear in the sky, and it's not really happening. Like, I feel like it's a sense of denial or whatnot, but I mean, it does exist, and they've even shown this in front of students at schools with a ocean and a whale jumps out of it, and it looks like it's right there before your very eyes. So it does make you wonder, but I've seen it myself, and even before all this was going on, I've seen things. So I think it is actually happening, but I wouldn't put it past the government to try to do something like that, because a lot of people are talking about them trying to control us right now. And what better way than to involve aliens? Like Ronald Reagan said, we'd really come together if the aliens came and tried to take over the world or whatnot. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, the government and the military, they're all into this counter-espionage kind of thing as well. So whenever you have a natural phenomenon or an extraterrestrial phenomenon that literally is going around and you can't control, what's happening, you've got to put out a disinformation campaign of your own to try to keep ahead of the spin. Project Bluebeam is just basically that. The whole idea of potentially the Tic Tac UFOs being some kind of like, advanced civilization or government program, it's not really off planet, those kinds of things. Those are all part of the counter intel programs where you actually go out and muddy the water, to try to make sure that people don't panic, and you discredit some of the people, the good people like the Navy pilots who are out there making these, reports and stuff. So yeah, there's always that counter espionage kind of stuff, control mechanism that goes on as well. But the funny thing is that you used to see those professional debunkers on all the television shows, Philip Klass and these guys that were out there for decades. Even let's take Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's kind of one of the newer guys that does this, right? But if you've noticed, these guys are so quiet right now. The debunkers are not out there doing their thing. I think they've been told, okay, pull back, just relax right now, because we are in a new a new mode here of red pilling the public. So we can't make too much fun of them if indeed that's what we need to have them do is get up to speed. So I think that's what we're experiencing right now.
So how has the whole COVID event been going in your neck of the woods? Do you see it going down? I know here the numbers were going down, and then all of a sudden we had an upsweep, and it could be due to people going on vacation, so on and so forth. But and school being back in session, that's pretty scary as well.
Well, this whole COVID thing, as far as I'm concerned, is, of course, it's a real virus, but the bottom line is, and I'm not giving medical advice here, I got to give my caveat. The bottom line is the science is not there to really determine, what the details of this whole thing are, because literally we're not getting the right information from even the CDC. And now the CDC is going back on some of their, demands initially that everyone wear a mask and all that kind of stuff. Of course, initially, Dr. Fauci was saying that masks don't work anyway. Then he said, oh, you got to have a mask now. And now they're rethinking about that and giving actually court cases in various states now are ruling the unconstitutionality of some of these lockdowns to begin with. So, you can't really determine whether this whole idea is worse than any normal flu as far as mortality rates and statistics. It's an election year. That's what's going on right now. It's all become politicized. And I, for one, will be very relieved once the election is over with, one way or another, because I don't think they're going to want to use the COVID lockdown as an ongoing tool any longer. One side or the other is going to probably go on with the normal plan after the election. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's been insane. So many people waiting for that second stimulus, and then Trump just announced recently he's going to wait till after the election to take care of that. But the different experimental medications that they gave him because he did contract COVID, that's pretty interesting, and I'm interested to see how that works out. I didn't see his most recent broadcast that he did. I'm really not on top of that. But it's very intriguing, like the things that are happening, and all these people that did the lockdown like they're told to received one stimulus, and then now they got rid of the whole you can't evict these people law, so people are being put out on the streets by the millions. That's very, very scary. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do, and I think they're just loving it because they're up there in the House and Senate and Congress and whatever else, and getting a paycheck no matter if they do their job or not, and the little people are suffering as usual. But I think it's just one of those cogs to try to control us or take us down or whatever the plan may be. A lot of people call it a plandemic, which kind of makes sense with all the stuff that's going along with it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's I think they realize that the public in general is running out of patience one way or another. It's going to be the new normal, whatever that's going to be, after the election probably is going to have to be modified, I believe, because I tell you what, there's one thing you don't want to do if you're an elected official or a government at all, is make the people generally mad at you, because that is a major force to be dealt with. They've done algorithms to figure out how far they can push people. They know how far they can push people, but they also know that there is a limit to what you can do. And eventually, of course, they test you, see how far they can push, in a certain area, and then they'll pull back if they realize it's gone too far, because obviously they don't want to wreak the ire of the public in general, who can literally, if they decide to get in one voice, do some amazing things.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of things during these times are set to divide us, and there hasn't been a time in the history that I know of where we have been so divided. I mean, we could talk about the Civil War and other things like that, but I mean, we are so divided right now. What better time to try to come in and conquer us or whatnot? But yeah, we just need to come together and put the politics and other stuff aside, because we really do, like you're saying right now, need to work together to get through all this. And there is so much coming about that is going to be very surprising for us. And together we can get through it. But if we're separated like we are, it's not going to work out very favorably.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the whole idea of the consciousness raising on the planet so quickly, I think the powers that be are having a difficult time to keep us separated and keep us fighting. I think they're realizing, I don't know if you know this, but they have agendas out there, for certain, things to try to divide the families and divide races and generations even, the baby boomers from the Zoomers and all those kind of folks. But, I think they're running into a problem. They're running into a problem of the reality of people's consciousness being actually raising before their very eyes. I don't know if you have been in touch with a lot of these young kids out there. I've raised 4 adult kids, myself and stuff. They are a total different humanoid on this planet, these young people. They are not able to be controlled like they used to be in the old days when I was a baby boomer and a kid. You basically did what your government and your parents told you to do. These kids out there who are into technology and the internet and instant gratification, they are in 24/7 contact with the entire planet. It's very difficult to control them in a conventional sense, and that's a hope that I see for the future.
Yeah, that is a good sign. And like I said, I have a 16-year-old. We also have a 17-year-old we're taking care of. And then we have 2 littles. It's like, if you have tech issues, just have your kids come in and take care of it. Like, they know how to take care of all this stuff, but they are very resilient and they are very headstrong. And like you said, it's really hard to control them or try to do so. So that's a promising thing, I think. A nice little gleam there in the bowl.
And exactly, and they are so beyond the idea of life on other planets. Are you kidding me? They've been raised in that whole venue of the idea that we are not alone on the planet. So, it's almost as if some people will say, the only real change that happens on the planet is when the older generations just die off, because the younger ones already know what's going on. I would hate to think that the baby boomers are all finished by now, because we're still kicking around and probably, available for things to be done on the planet. But literally, these young kids out there are well beyond the idea of consciousness raising themselves. And basically, they've almost got a hive mind just through their technology, let alone the actual physical ability to read people's minds will be just around the corner.
When you mentioned technology, that just brought something up for me really quick. A friend of mine, who is actually going to be our Friday host, but he had contacted me earlier and he said, hey, if you got any videos or pictures or whatnot on your Facebook, I have a friend that's in the Secret Service or whatnot, and he's saying they're about to do like a major sweep of all media, all social media, and all of your stuff is going to get erased. So if you have any sort of external hard drive, Costco has 4T external hard drives, as do other places, but if there's something you value on there, go in and take it off. And I'm one of those people where I'll hear something, I'll take it to heart, but I'm not automatically going to run out there and grab a 4G or whatnot, because I try not to feed into the fear, like, is this really going to happen? And if it does, I mean, that is going to be something major that really takes everybody over the edge, I think, especially with younger kids. Like, so much of their life and different things are on Snapchat or Facebook or Twitter or wherever else. for them to do that, that's taking away people's memories, basically. For me as a kid, pictures is how I retain the memory of my mother and other things like that. And for them to take that from people, like, that's just, to me, an injustice.
Well, you can well see that that is part of the agenda. There's the white hats, the black hats, the gray hats. You got different agendas going on out there, and you can see that that would be an agenda of one of the organizations out there that are competing for control, of the future. But yeah, literally, you got to be real careful with how far you take your control agenda, because I don't know about you, but I would hate to have. Like I said, I've raised 4 kids, from infants, babies to adults now. And I would say that, you know what, if my 4 kids ever got together and decided that they were going to do something, maybe they didn't like something that I did and stuff, I would hate to run up against those kind of folks. Oh, my word. They have no idea, the powers that be, how powerful the young folks are if they wanted to get together, and if you made them mad enough. So I'm wondering if they're going to be able to pull off some of these control mechanisms that they've got planned for the future. Obviously, they've done their studies. They've run the algorithms. They think they know how far they can push them. But I don't know about that. That'd be an interesting fight to see.
Yeah, you want to see a hive of red ants, get disturbed. That's one good way to do it.
There you go.
You had shortly mentioned before we came on the air, different things that you like to talk about, and Bigfoot was one of them. Are there cases that have been out? Like, I've seen so many different things posted, like videos and pictures and different names that they're giving these different Bigfoot in different areas, but it seems like they're coming out quite a bit as well.
That is, you're right on there, Tessa, because they basically seem to have some kind of connection. The UFO reports seem to be rising. The reports of just normal people reporting Sasquatches, Bigfoots, that seems to be on the rise as well. Of course, I live in the Pacific Northwest, the Bigfoot capital of the planet, literally, where all the reports basically are. I mean, we've got more UFO reports and Bigfoot reports in the Pacific Northwest than anywhere on Earth. And I have always, through the UFO team and our investigations, we've always run across some kind of connection between people citing reports of flying craft, maybe even up close, and then also having Bigfoot sightings in the same general area. Or I've even seen reports and talked with individuals themselves who say that they have literally seen a Bigfoot go inside of a craft. I don't know if you've heard those stories,
Yeah.
The idea of Bigfoot potentially being some kind of extraterrestrial or being some kind of interdimensional being that we don't even understand yet, that have something to do with, extraterrestrial technology. The fact that people have cited Bigfoot literally kind of like fading into the background and disappearing before their very eyes. The fact that Bigfoot's footsteps in snow, for instance, just stop in a snowfield and just disappear. There's no way this thing just went straight up, or it just faded out into another dimension. And the fact that some people believe that they have encountered Bigfoot, but they actually couldn't see it. There was a presence they could see, or they could see almost, the brush moving, but they couldn't see the creature itself. So I'm thinking that this stuff is, I know this stuff is real. I don't doubt at all that Bigfoot is something, whether it's a, Gigantopithecus, actual biological creature, or if it's a interdimensional creature or an extraterrestrial. There's something there And I think more and more people now are experiencing that. And maybe it has something to do with the raising of the consciousness level on the planet. Because I don't know about you, but I've always heard these stories of Bigfoot communicating with normal people through some kind of mind speak, and mental telepathy. So I think it's all connected somehow.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard of the whole telepathy thing. I've heard of people sensing it, like there's a predator out there, the way that your hair raises up on your neck or your arms or whatnot, and something's there, you just can't see it. And they kind of have that predator sort of thing where they do blend into things. And like you were saying, the way that the tracks just stop, that kind of reminded me of a story that I heard from someone where they're following the tracks, and like you said, all of a sudden it stopped, and about 20 or 30 feet away to the left is where it had arrived. So I don't know if it like transported or if it jumped and arrived in that area. But you think you'd be able to tell the difference between the just walking and then the 2 feet together, putting pressure down to jump that far. That would be insane. But that's not the first time I've heard, like from you, the aliens and Bigfoot being in league. I've also heard about Fae and Bigfoot working together. The Fae is the brains and the Bigfoot's the brawn. But it's pretty interesting to hear these different stories that people have witnessed themselves and the different things that they go through with that. Bigfoot being an alien, it just takes me to Star Wars and thinking about Chewbacca or whatnot on that spaceship, because he is quite a bit like a Bigfoot, but more of like a dog man maybe. I don't know. It's pretty interesting though.
Matter of fact, I've got a Chewy Chewbacca headpiece that I got at Walmart. It's really cool. I bought it for like a Halloween kind of like, costume. But I put it on my passenger seat over the headrest on the passenger seat. It looks like Chewy is riding with me everywhere I go. I always get comments.
That's awesome. And you always have so much fun. I mean, you go on trains and you did the whole Christmas ghost train stories, and you rode along the way, and I really enjoyed following that. And you guys, like I said, the UFO I team, not recently because of COVID, but in the past has gotten out there, and all the evidence you guys have collected is amazing. But I mean, you're talking about baby boomers and how people are just waiting for you to go, but I mean, there's so much that you have to offer and so many experiences. Like, you're still out there living the life. I really liked your video when you went to the Alien Cafe and stuff like that for the Area 51 thing. And there was the guy from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas there, and you guys were sitting and talking, and it was just awesome.
Thompson. Oh, I tell you what, Tessa, that was if you want to reminisce for a few minutes about the storming of Area 51 event, that was one of the highlights of my life, literally. I was a little too young to make it to Woodstock in 1969. I was just, I could, no way I could convince my parents that I get to like go off with a bunch of hippies, for the weekend. But literally, I was not going to miss storming Area 51. The whole idea when this Southern California gamer kid, 21-year-old, come up with the idea, hey, why don't we all meet at Area 51 because they can't stop all of us, that kind of deal. All of a sudden, in a week, he has over 3 million people signed up to go. I thought to myself, oh, my word, I'm going. And so I loaded up my podcasting gear in my duffel bag and literally you're going to love this, Tessa. I contacted my old college sweetheart, Nancy, who literally lives in Vegas because I knew that her and her husband lived there. They're great people. I said, Nancy, if I came to Area 51, could I at least use your house as like a base? So you said, come on down. We would love to have you. And so literally for 5 days, I was broadcasting live from the little alien and interviewing the world, Tessa. Literally, Al Jazeera was there. The New York Times, London Times was there. Every single paranormal broadcaster in the world was there trying to find out what was going on, whether it was going to really happen. And I ended up being in the right place at the right time to put that stuff on a podcast for a whole week in it's still up there, at the UFO I Team Facebook page or the Michael W. Hall Facebook page. You can watch me interview Connie West, the owner of the Little Alien, who literally put on the entire event after it was thrust upon her. She wasn't her idea, and all of a sudden she had to deal with it. There are 54 people that live in Rachel, Nevada, that literally opened up their entire town to the world for 10 days. It was amazing.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun, and I wish I could have gone, but I'm not financially able, and I also have littles that I got to take care of. But yeah, that was just awesome seeing what you did and you recording that for other people to experience, because there's a lot of people that can't go out and do these certain things. So it's just awesome that you do that.
You were there with me on Facebook. I was actually conversing with you and a lot of other friends that I had in the podcasting community, which was so fun because it was like co-hosting the show together. I was out there on location like Edward R. Murrow. You're back in the studio doing your thing. And I'll tell you what, literally, we had people from Peru. We had people from, all sorts of countries around the planet that were just streaming onto the Facebook chat room going, oh, my word, what's going on out there? And you're right. It was just a historic event.
That's so awesome that you got to do that. Yeah, you just can't, you just can't, I don't know, you can't pay for stuff like that. That is such an experience you'll never forget. Like you said, you weren't able to go to Woodstock, but you were able to go do this. So in the end, how is everybody's moods? Everybody seemed like they were really cool. Everybody got along. I didn't see any contention or anything. Everybody was just kind of excited to be there and to see what's going to happen.
Let me tell you what really happened at the culmination of this entire event. They had put out the idea that on Friday morning, that would be actually Saturday morning, but Friday night at 3 a.m., they were all going to meet at the back gate of Area 51. That was the big deal, right? So literally, I'm thinking, this is crazy. Why would they want to do it in the middle of the night rather than, at least try to get, a lot of folks there during the day? But anyway, what happened was at about 3 a.m., the back gate all of a sudden has about, I would say 100 individuals show up out of nowhere from around the planet. And these were people, some of them dressed like aliens, some of them with, actual press passes from, media from around the planet with all the lights. Everything was lit up. It was like broad daylight at 3 a.m. at literally the back gate where the camo dudes are, right? And now everybody, the tension is building. And there are crazies out there. There's young kids out there. There's serious-minded ufologists, that showed up out there. Nick Pope, showed up. Giorgio Tsoukalos was there. Some major heavyweights, people showed up. And you wondered what was going to happen. Was someone going to really trigger an event that would be shut down by the military? Let me tell you what happened. It was a magical event. All of a sudden, one of the camo dudes, and I don't know who trained these guys, and I don't know where they recruited these guys, but these guys were amazing. One of the camo dudes stepped across the big fence, came out, and just kind of said, he picked out one kid out of the crowd, was one of the more obnoxious ones, in the crowd. He came out and he said, hey, how you doing? He says, where are you from? This is a camo dude. He's standing there and talking like normal to a kid. And all of a sudden, what happened was that everybody had cut the tension, and all of a sudden the other camo dudes kind of came out. And of course, a couple of the press guys started coming out and filming this whole thing. Everyone was taking selfies with the camo guys. And it turned out to be an amazing public relations event for the military. And it was a party. It was a giant party at the back gate of Area 51. And no one, I think one kid actually got arrested for like urinating in public.
Oh,
And I don't
geez.
know why they arrested the kid, because he was just like, there was nowhere to go, But anyway, there was one guy that they kind of like, made it an example of, and everybody else had a wonderful time. Consequently, that was the kickoff Friday night or early Saturday morning. The rest of the weekend went off flawlessly. They had music, they had vendors, they had the best food in the world. They had a hoagie sandwich, literally, that would just you'd die for, and all sorts of course, they had Budweiser with the alien head cans. They had like Coors Light. They had all the sponsors and caterers there. Everybody, all the food trucks were there. So anyway, that's how the thing kicked off on Friday night at the back gate.
That is so awesome. I never heard of the Budweiser Alien Can beer. Holy shnikes, did you get one to save?
You know what? I bought a six-pack. I'm saying this is incredible. It was a beautiful black and green kind of can. It was really cool. It had a really neat green alien head on it and everything. And then I was saying, I'm not going to drink this. I'm going to save this and bring this home. I couldn't bring it on the airplane back to Seattle.
Oh, no.
I ended up having to leave it with my old college girlfriend, Nancy. And I told her, Nancy, if there's any way you can save this, I'm going to get this, I'm going to pay you to send it to me later on. I haven't seen those cans lately, but I'm looking for them. Hopefully they'll come back out.
Maybe they went on an astral hop or something. But I know that you do have to get to your show that you're doing on Sunday nights. So would you like to tell our listeners how to find you, how to contact the UFOI team, so on and so forth?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, you can always find the UFOI team, that's a lowercase I, for investigation, on Facebook. You can check us out there. As a matter of fact, we got videos galore. I've got Dave Mason with all this fantastic, Skywatch gear, and Ander Uristi and Lee Strauss with all of their fantastic cameras and the footage that they've created. So you can find us on Facebook real easy, or you can always find Michael W. Hall on Facebook as well. And Tessa, you are so gracious to be a loving hostess in this whole genre out there. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you as well for what you're doing, because like you said, there's a lot of people out there that need help, have answers, and just having the different guests on that we do, and trying to educate not only ourselves but everyone else, so we have a fighting chance to get through all this. But thank you for all you do and taking us on your adventures. It's amazing. I really love watching you have fun and enjoy life.
Oh, thank you. We'll bring you along, and you're always my co-hostess out there, so be ready.
Awesome. Just let me know. I'll be there. Well, thank you again, Michael, for coming on and being here. I was so worried at first. I'm like, man, I'm going to bore the pants off everyone tonight. But then you showed up and was like, hey, how do I contact you? I'm like, thank goodness. At least one good hour we'll have tonight. But thanks again, and good luck with your show tonight. And I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Tessa. Anytime.
We're going to our musical break. I'm sorry, guys. I was talking that whole time muted. But we have Gravity from Krakow pulling with Throw You Away, Sugar from Fred Johnson III from Canyon County, California, as well as Take a Walk in My Shoes from Gravity, and Prime Example with Dancing Machine. Quest is actually a member of that band, and he is the provider of our music here on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
want to say, would she go on? Be strong, keep walking on, find a reason to go. Who will carry on? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Hey, time for you to face this world. Not alone, my friend. Get up. Someday she'll be okay. Don't let it throw you away. Don't let it throw you away. Don't let it throw you away. Don't let it throw you What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We see something to fight for. We see something to die for. Hey, time for you to face this world. Not alone, my friend. Get up. Someday you'll be okay. Don't let it throw you away. 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 Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. The tension's overbearing. Wondering, are you coming back home again? To inspire fondness with love. Where did our love go wrong? My sugar. Why did I make you cry? Whispers flow through my mind when I think about you. That without you. Where did our love go wrong, my sugar? So walk down the street, thinking all the things you said you need. Well, don't you tell me, baby, how do you feel? So walk down the street, thinking all the things you said you need. Well, don't you tell me, baby, how do you feel? Don't you take a walk? Well, don't you take a walk in my shoes? Why don't you take a walk before you tell me what to do? Don't you take a walk? Don't you take a walk in my shoes? Why don't you take a walk before you tell me what to do? No, it's easy. You tell me what to do. Have you ever stopped to think all the things that I've been through? No, it's easy. You tell me what to do. Have you ever stopped to think all the things that I've been through? Don't you take a walk? Don't you take a walk in my shoes? Or don't you, baby, take a walk before you tell me what to do? Don't you take a walk? Don't you take a walk in my shoes? Or don't you, baby, take a walk before you tell me what to do? Before you tell
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to reach Tessa.
By the way, little mama, can we be friends? I can't let this night just end. I really
Hi,
wanna
this
know
is
if I can
Melissa
see you
Bryan.
again.
I got your number
Give
from
me a number, we'll get
Facebook.
back on the scene. We can hit another club if that's
On
your
your
thing.
post.
We'll be partners in crime, you and me, as we ripping up floors like two dancing machines.
Oh, okay, awesome. Radio program? Oh, awesome. Right. Yeah. Basically, I'm a psychic medium. I've got 41 years in the business. Wrote my own book. I've done, seen, heard, you name it, I got it. Melissa?
Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. First hour, we had Michael W. Hall, the founder and director of the UFI team, as well as the paranormal lawyer. But we just got a caller in, and I'm sure you guys heard that because I didn't have her muted for some reason. But her name is Melissa. She's a psychic medium, and I'm so excited that you called, Melissa. Would you like to first introduce yourself to our listeners?
Absolutely. I'm known as the Outlaw Psychic, and I own my own business, Outlaw Psychic Enterprises, and I work in California. I'm sitting at my father-in-law's place, which, by the way, is haunted. We believe the old trailer house over here is haunted by my father-in-law, my grandmother-in-law, my grandfather-in-law, and maybe several others. We're not sure, but I don't know. I feel like I'm being watched by the old house, you know? I look over there. I just feel like I'm being watched. I'm like, ooh, creepy, creepy, creepy. But it's okay. I'm not afraid. They're all good spirits, you know?
Yeah, when you said that.
Nothing to be afraid of, just kind of a creepy feeling.
Yeah, when you said that, it totally reminded me of the story that I heard of this girl, and she moved into this new house, and there was an old creepy house across the way, and she kept seeing somebody staring at her from the top floor, and then eventually she snuck over there to investigate and was kind of trapped in the house, and it was her looking at her from the top floor the whole time. It was really strange. But it's awesome that you're saying the spirits there are friendly and family, but it can still creep you out.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy because they also have the old family cabin and, the old trailer house and all that. And I don't know, it just feels a little weird. And my father-in-law died on the property. So, yes, we do have a death on the property. And then I wrote my own book, Born into Shamanism. And the reason they call me the Outlaw Psychic, one, to honor my outlaw loved ones from the Old West who have been rock solid right there at my side for everything. So I've got to honor them. And then also because my answers, when you want something fast and accurate, you got it right here.
Well, yeah, and I did have you on the show not too long ago, and it was so awesome, like hearing your different stories and experiences and travels. So you guys are down there in California now. How's everything been going? Are you liking it? Are you feeling better about how life's going?
Yeah, actually, I really like it here. I've been here before. So I used to live in this town. In fact, we live just down the road, not too far, about 2 miles out. And it used to be a restaurant and I think they said it was either a boarding house or a dance hall or something like that. It used to be the old opera house. And this place is so creepy. I mean, it's now all apartments, both downstairs and upstairs. But the family by the name of Gisbrecht used to own the place. And they were chased out by the government over a misunderstanding. And so they've been, during the time of World War I. Yeah, during the time of World War I. And they've been haunting the place ever since. And they are some of my oldest and dearest friends. And in fact, I made friends with them as soon as I arrived here. Great, great people, spirit people, that is, spirit residents. And I really love them. Mr. Gisbrecht, he, whenever I would be like crying or upset or something over things that happened a long time ago back then, he would sit down next to me and go, there, everything's okay. Tell Papa all about it. I go, okay, well, here's what's going down. And, he would comfort me, almost grandfatherly. I kind of saw him as like a grandfather, And so I quickly actually made friends with the entire spirit family there and all their residents. And the lady that owned the building at the time, who was a distant other cousin off another line of my own family, basically she was really, well, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. I'll be nice. And anyway, we would have great fun walking her out of the building and playing jokes and pranks. Oh, man, they just drove her bananas. They drove her crazy. That was funny.
So it's cool, like, you're able to interact with them. Like you said, this guy is like your grandpa, so I'm sure you feel really close to him.
Yeah.
Do they ever tell you, like, why they're still there? Do they just love it there so much they don't want to leave?
Yeah, they don't want to leave. That's their idea of heaven. Hey, who am I to argue?
Well, yeah, and for me, like, I've always thought about it as, there's one judgment day, and it hasn't happened yet, so these spirits are free to do, free agency to be here or there, wherever they may be, until the time comes when there is judgment day and then the re-rising of spirits for the final battle or whatnot. But it's so awesome that they're still there, intelligent, and you're able to interact with them. Makes me think about when people talk about their guardians and stuff. A lot of times people think about it as like a guardian angel, when in fact it's your actual family trying to inform you and propel you through life, and not to make the same mistakes they might have.
Right. My outlaws, God love them, they have been here for me through everything. They have been rock solid. I mean, just there for me through thick and thin, fat and flush. It don't matter, They've been there for me the whole time. And I really, really love them for it. And so I say thank you to them for that. And even writing this book, I mean, I add to it every once in a while, and I'm kind of starting to work on it again a little bit once all this other nonsense dies down.
Right.
I'm going to be moving my business over to Weed, California, which I now have clients in both Oregon and California, which makes it really nice. And so that's kind of helping me along a little bit. And I saw a thing with Kim Russo on the haunting of, I think it was Carney Wilson or something like that.
In Weed, California. I saw that one.
Yeah. That one really helped me decide to go to Weed, because I feel like there were some names associated with that location and the people involved with that location that coincide, are not the actual people that are with me, but coincide with some names that are familiar to me. And so it's like my family saying, here's where you need to be. And I found a book on my great-great-grandfather, Jesse James, at one of their local antique stores. And I poured through that book wanting to know more, and I learned some things that's like, oh, okay, light bulb on, that makes sense,
Yeah, for sure. And I know that the lady that owns that theater that is actually used for people to produce music, so on and so forth, she's trying to sell it from what I saw on that
Yeah.
show. I don't know how long ago that was, but I'm wondering if there's a paranormal team. If not, if you could go and approach her and be like, hey, I know another way that you can bring some money in. Let's do some paranormal tours through here because it's obviously
Right,
got the
right.
guy that burned up in there. And then I think the other ghost was actually Carney's grandpa or something like that.
Yes,
But
her grandson. Yeah,
I'm
he
trying
was
to.
following her. He's been following her throughout her life, actually. I picked that up right away. And it seems like, I mean, I don't know, because of the names involved, I have almost a collateral, if you will, family connection to it. Not a direct connection, but a collateral connection. Um, the names kind of resonate, coincide, so to speak. And I just feel like it's like my family has led me to the point where it's like, okay, this is where I want to live for the rest of my life. And we found a piece of land, yes, an actual piece of land that we have desire to settle on. So we're going to sell off a bunch of our stuff. By the way, folks, yes, we're going to be trying to sell some stuff off. So if you want some of it, come on and get her.
I know somebody that was actually on the show last night that is looking for paranormal equipment, and they're like, we found some, but it's going to take forever to get here. So they're looking for something.
Right.
If you have any of that stuff,
Don't have paranormal. No, we don't have paranormal equipment.
Oh, okay.
No, this is just like old family stuff that, we no longer, need and all that. We're trying to downsize and reorganize, essentially. And it's what's left after a big truck hit us in Nevada about 4 years ago, almost. Yeah. And basically we're going through what's left of our lives. After all these moves, and the last move was a forced move again, but I think it propelled us back to where we need to be.
Yeah, it's so sad when you have to do that, because you said a lot of these things are like family things. They could be heirlooms, so on and so forth. It's so hard for people to let go of that, but it's so awesome that you're at a point in your life where that's what you need to do,
Right.
And so you're trying to sell that so you can start a new life fresh and clear. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for you guys.
Yeah, essentially we want to basically buy a new truck. We want to turn in this trailer. We want to trade in this one for a bigger and better trailer. We found one that is absolutely our dream home on wheels. So we figured, yeah, that's the one. And we found a piece of land that essentially we have view of Mount Shasta, we have view of Black Butte, we have view of the Siskiyous, we have view of the Shasta Cascades, we have view of pretty much all the major mountain ranges around here. And we have room for cattle and horses and barns and an arena so I can practice my barrel racing. Yay! And we can put our home there and just kind of start over.
Well, we were talking about this earlier as far as like when COVID broke out, there's all kinds of UFO sightings going on. But also, the paranormal has really kicked up. I don't know. I know it's October.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the veil is thinning, but even before that, the veil has been thinning. Like, there's been so much crazy activity going on. Have you guys been experiencing that?
Yeah, actually, at our former residence where we lived at the fairgrounds in Roseburg, that place was a paranormal nexus. I mean, we had everything. We saw UFOs regularly. There was random gunfire in the hills, which was, we believe, attributed to, I guess, residual energies of something happening, I don't know, up there.
Like when the Civil War happened, like you were saying before, when the Civil War happened, gunfire, any sort of, one time when I was in Arkansas, I did a playback of Civil War sounds, and it actually conjured up a ghost that ran past the car and then dove into the bushes. It's amazing how different sounds does, activate paranormal activity. That is amazing.
Right. And we had over behind River Arena, we had the amphitheater area there, and there are two young men there, literally, not figuratively. There are two young men there. They are Native Americans, And I saw them like the first couple of days that we were there. I actually physically saw them. And they're very, very sweet young men. Almost like the sons I never had. And they're really sweet, very playful, and very fun-loving. And we've heard them talking. We've heard them laughing and giggling and just running and having a good time. And I've heard footsteps there. I even saw a full-body apparition once over there. That was crazy. I was like, wow.
Is that the one you were talking about before that was like walking towards you with the cowboy hat on and the duster, I think?
No. Oh, he was a different guy. That was a totally different dude. The one I saw looked like someone from the gold mining era, probably about 1860s-ish, maybe a little bit before that. And he had short, shoulder-length, blonde, straight hair, a handlebar mustache, fair skin. I couldn't see his eyes real good. It was too far away. He had a men's long sleeve shirt on, which I used to have one of the kind he had on. And that had a little bit of a button with a pocket on one side on his chest, and long sleeves with puffy sleeves. Excuse me. He had tan pants and tan knee-high boots. He came up over the bank where the river was and then turned into what is now the fairgrounds, went straight through a solid chain link fence and disappeared. I'm sitting there going,
What?
wow. And that was in midday. That was in broad daylight. Yeah.
That's
I saw
amazing.
that broad daylight. I thought, wow. And he was full color, like I see another person, totally solid and not ethereal at all. I mean, he appeared to me like a regular human being, human person, but he was not of our time.
Yeah, Gnome Drew in the chat room is saying perhaps it was a residual energy, and he's picking up on 1858-ish, and he said button-up plaid shirts or plain.
Plain. It was a plain, solid, like cream color shirt, not tucked in.
Yeah, and you can see the dirt and grime in it from the panning and such.
Oh yeah. Mhm. I mean, I could see every detail. It was really wild. I was like, wow, that is cool. I wasn't even a little bit scared of it because I'd seen all that kind of, before. I'm like, okay, right on. Cool. That works. Awesome.
So you were talking about the new place that you're living and how you feel like you're being watched. Have you guys had any other activity on that property that you're on?
No, not at all. Just being watched. No. Mm-mm.
Wow.
Nothing
That's
else
interesting.
beyond that.
They kind of stated themselves at this point.
Yeah. They know who we are. I'm not worried about their loved ones. They're welcome over here. They know that. It's all good.
The family has owned that place for 67 years.
Yeah, the family has owned the property for 67 years, and it's been the family since his grandfather. So my uncle-in-law now owns the property, and we have the paperwork to prove that, so that's all good. We're going to be moving from here to Weed, California, and hopefully I get to settle there for the rest of my life. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Sandra in the chat room was saying she'd been there, and I asked her what she thought about it, and she said it was really cool, and they actually ate at this Mexican restaurant, and she said it was really, really good.
I'm going to have to try that. I'm into Mexican. I cook
Mm-hmm.
Mexican myself because I used to live in Arizona and New Mexico, so I picked up a few techniques.
Yeah, I live in Southwest Colorado, and that's where my family majorly grew up, and then we moved around several times. But my sister Amanda, she's like, I could have Mexican every night and be the happiest person in the world, but mom won't go for it.
I make a red and green enchilada that would knock your socks off.
Oh, yeah. We have to have like an enchilada cook-off because I make the most badass green chili chicken enchiladas that you have ever tasted.
Oh, I love green chili chicken enchilada. Oh my
Oh,
God.
so
Now you got my
good.
stomach growling. Oh man, no, you just had to go and do that.
Yeah, now I'm hungry. All right, you guys, we're gonna take a
Oh,
food
and
break. Just kidding.
I make a bowl of New Mexico red that would just thrill you. Okay, mine. It starts off savory, slow, and sweet, and then 5 seconds later, right straight to heat. So I have to kind of dig up my old recipes again and kind of make my homemade chili again. I'm gonna jar it up and save it for whenever the weather gets chilly.
Yeah, when I was gone for a month, so I left August 25th, came back home September 25th because my grandpa was sick, so I flew out to San Diego, and before I could make it there, he had passed away. So due to COVID,
Oh,
instead of having the funeral immediately, we had to wait a while due to restrictions and such. So I went back to
it's that,
Arizona. Go ahead. Yeah, it was really
that's
sad,
supposed to
but
be. Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm just glad, like my husband said, which, he generally doesn't have a lot of good advice, but he said, at least, you'll remember your grandpa the way he was the last time you saw him, and you won't remember him the way he was right before he passed, which is really cool. Like, that's a
Mhm.
nice thought. Like, there's things that I want to say to him, but I know he knows. He can hear what I'm thinking to him or what I'm saying to him. And it was amazing.
Mhm.
Like, he was a Navy vet, and
Oh wow.
he was a very humorous, like, serious sort of person. He had this serious sort of humor, but I got it, so he really
Mhm.
cracked me up. But he was
Uh-huh.
asking me, what I'm doing with my life and stuff, and I told him about working in the field of paranormal and all the experiences I've had. And he was legitimately interested. And when I stayed at my grandma's house for my grandpa's funeral, I was in his, they call it the bar room, but it was basically, the man cave. And so I'm sleeping in there and I'm looking around at all his books and stuff. And I was amazed at all the paranormal books he had. So he really took to heart what I was telling him. And I think when you're in the years, when you're approaching, the end of your time, those sort of things, if they've never interested you, really do. You're thinking about
Mhm.
what's going to be next. Is it going to be darkness and being eaten up by worms and bugs, or is there something
Right.
else? And I believe there really is something else. I've seen it. I've witnessed
Mhm.
it. And it excites me to know that we do have free agency even on the other side. It's amazing.
Mhm. And we really do. You know, I know that when I had my near death experiences, I was told both times I have to go back, so I have to finish my mission. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's a little delayed right now, but I'm working on
Yeah, you have that intention in your heart. You have plans. Man, so many things
it.
are hard to do these days with, the lockdown. Now that we're not locked down anymore, things are still really restrictive. There's so many people that have reached out to me for help, and I'm like, well, my crew's not willing to go with me because of COVID. One of my teammates has already caught it. She lived through it. Really, for her, I was surprised it wasn't that bad, but nobody
Right.
wants to go. But my friend Mia, who is also a psychic medium, she's like, heck, I'll go with you. And I'm like, thank God, because I feel so guilty. Like, I want to help these people, but due to COVID
Right.
and everything, like, I can't. But now I can, so I'm super stoked.
Um, I'd be willing to go myself because I got COVID actually back in 2018. Same symptoms and everything. And I believe it was the precursor to whatever was going on going on now. And um now so I'm kind of like I'm immune to it and I'm like I'm not scared of this It doesn't bother me. And I can tell you exactly how to beat it because I've experienced it.
Yeah, it's
And
very
it's all
interesting.
holistic.
Like you're saying, I think I had it in February. My son had brought it home, and then we all ended up catching it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was somewhat like the flu. You felt like you were getting better, and as soon as you get up to move around and do things, it was like the lack of oxygen that you're taking in. You just feel
Well,
totally drained again, and
yeah, yeah,
it was very draining. And it actually took a while to get over, but I'm pretty sure
yeah.
we had it.
Okay, it took us a month and a half to fight it. It took us a month and a half to get over it. We are all now completely recovered, no side effects whatsoever. We never took any antibiotics. We never went to any doctors or hospitals. No
Yeah,
ventilators, nothing. The way we beat it is this. Okay, sunshine and fresh air is absolutely a must. You must have that to beat this.
for sure.
The other one is stay hydrated. Lots of water. Water, 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 water. I cannot stress it enough. Holistic, herbal foods, whole foods, supplements, liquids, even holistic medications. Hydrochloroquine, yeah, if medical advice says yes, then, by all means try it.
Yeah,
I'm
don't
not
go
a
buy
doctor.
some
I
and
can't
try it on
yes
your
or
own.
no.
Yeah, have a doctor do it.
Yeah, exactly. But we beat it actually with holistic whole food medications. True thing. That's how we beat it.
Yeah, we beat it with
That,
homemade chicken noodle
sunshine,
soup, homemade chicken green
yeah,
chili, and like you said,
yeah,
lots of water and sunshine. Like that was one of the big things they
yeah,
were pushing when this first came out. Stay indoors. You're not keeping me indoors. I hang out outside all day at my picnic table, and that's where I'll be because you have to have the sun. Like it is so
right.
healing.
Sunshine is an absolute must. Sunshine, fresh air, must, must, must. Water, yes. Stay hydrated. Lots of water. And sleep. If your body says sleep, do it. Do it, do it, do it, and sleep till you're not tired anymore. True thing. We did that, and it helped a lot.
Awesome.
Lots of sleep. As much as what your body can tolerate or will tolerate. And stay bathed, wash your hands frequently. We did it. It worked. I mean, just all the holistics that you can get, do that because that is what's going to get you over it.
Yeah, it was so funny. My 8-year-old, he was like the hand washing Nazi. He's like, okay, you just came out of there and you didn't wash your hands. You better go wash your hands. And he was on
I
everybody. It
agree.
was so cool. And
I
it is
agree.
important because it can live on your skin and even your clothes. Like if you go to the store, wear a pair of clothes, and when you come home, change. And take a shower because that stuff can live on your body. I heard like 80 something hours or something. It's pretty
No,
insane.
you know what? I don't really believe that because we've been to and from the store and haven't really, changed. I mean, I change like maybe every other day or so.
Well, yeah. And like you said, we've gone
Um,
through it already, so we're immune to
yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, we're immune to it. We cannot catch it again, thankfully. Um, and what I believe actually happened was that this whole thing in Wuhan, that was only secondary to this. It actually started in Denver, Colorado while we were there. I was working for Denver National Stock Show and Rodeo as security help. Well, they didn't call me security, but, it was pretty much the same thing. And I've done security for rodeos over the various years. I'd do it again, yeah, I guess, if they paid me enough to do it.
Yeah, we do
The pay
security, and
wasn't
it
very,
sucked because they
yeah,
had the fair, and the only part they had was the kids selling their livestock because they've worked all year really hard to get their, livestock to a certain point, and they're like, okay, we're going to cut out all the vendors, the rodeo, the tractor pull, all this other stuff. All we care about is the animals and selling them and that they're protected. throughout. And so we had hours, but it wasn't like before. And it's been hard trying to get through doing security because all the events have been canceled, even still today.
And what really pissed me off, pardon me, but is that when they canceled our fair, my second chance at getting my cupcakes in there,
Oh, man.
I got cheated. I was mad. I was like, oh, F this, you know?
I will eat and judge your cupcakes.
Okay. Yeah, if you can handle a triple chocolate mocha,
Oh, yeah.
Chocolate chip with 3 different kinds of chocolate chips, by the way,
Holy
baked
shnikes.
into the batter.
Sounds like heaven.
Oh, yeah. No, I've developed this over a number of years. But when they canceled that fair, I was pissed. I was like, damn you, you know? Pardon me, folks, but that was my exact feeling was, damn you.
Yeah, Melissa, don't worry.
Of a gall-darn blue ribbon.
Right?
Dang it.
And
You
we're
know?
on the internet waves. We're not on any terrestrial stations, so we're all adults here. And we even mark our show for adults, not good for kids, because, you know, sometimes you got to use that language. And so feel free to speak freely.
My exact feeling was I was pissed because it's like I got cheated of a blue ribbon. And I know my cupcakes would have whooped some tail. I know that for a fact. I blue ribboned on those over and over again. And I'm going to re-enter them in the fairs here this next year when they open the fair up. I'm going to enter my cupcakes. It's like, all right, I'm back, and this time I'm ready for blue ribbon. Bring on best of show. Come on. Because I looked at their last entries, I'm going, really?
Yeah. Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
I mean, I was literally like snickering at everyone else's entries because I'm like, really? That's the best you got?
Yeah, and my husband's best friend Bert, he does goats and stuff, but his mom every year will make quilts or some artwork to put in the show, and I'm just imagining she's already created these quilts that, I mean, she, like you said, wins the blue ribbon every time. I can imagine what kind of extra intricate, insane work she's going to put on it. But for those people that are looking forward to this all year long, and then it's like crushing your dreams.
I didn't get a chance to get blue ribbon of anywhere in Oregon. Not this time.
Next time.
Mad. Oh, man. No bueno, not good.
So you were saying earlier that you guys have seen UFO activity, so on and so forth. Have you guys had any sort of alien interaction, or what have you noticed with these UFOs? What do you think they're doing?
I don't really know. I've just seen the crap. I don't really know what they're doing. I think me and the Grays, we kind of have this understanding that I don't go looking for them. They don't come looking for me. I don't bug them. They don't bug me. Good enough. Everybody's happy.
That's good. We've actually seen some, and I was just talking to someone shortly before we had our last UFO interaction, and I was talking to Michael Hall earlier, where I'm out in the yard with my daughter, and I see this sparkly thing about 6 to 8 blocks away. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see it clearly. All I see is this sparkling bright white light over this neighborhood. And my daughter Lily, she's 5. She's like, Mom, look, UFOs. I'm only seeing one light, but there's actually multiple. And my 16-year-old was in the exact neighborhood that they were over, and she said she saw these UFO orbs. They were brilliant white, and they were doing like a triangle formation, and then they'd zigzag back and forth in this triangle formation, and then they'd stop and go this way, that way, and then all of a sudden they just shot off. And it was amazing. Like, not only did me and my youngest daughter experience it, but my 16-year-old and her friends did as well. And they're like, yeah, it was right above us and it was insane. It's just like, what are they doing? Are they like keeping track of us, what we're doing? Are they
I
taking
wouldn't doubt that
notes?
they are. I mean,
It's,
there
it's
was
like
one
kind
time we were going to Colorado to the hospital for my cousin when we lived in New Mexico because we couldn't get care there for him. And in the past, between New Mexico and Colorado, and in my book, I have actual photos of what is as close to what I assume I saw. I can't say I saw it. I assume I saw it, because there were these crafts with these crazy weird lights, and at my property in New Mexico, the one I owned before I got chased out. Yeah, I got chased out of my own property in New Mexico. People robbed us day and night until we finally got set up and left.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories like that. It's insane.
And we would watch these crafts literally chase each other across the sky over our property. I'm going, what the,
Yeah, for real. It's insane. And usually, like you said, there will be some sort of Air Force or whatnot coming in and chasing it off. When I was in California, in San Diego, my grandparents' property is right along what we call here BLM, but it's basically government property. There's all kinds of towers and satellites and different water storage places, so on and so forth, for who knows, like maybe in the future when shit goes down, they're gonna use it. But at night you could see these lights coming across the mountain, and at a very quick pace. They're not vehicles, but it's immigrants trying to get into the country. And even during the day, you'll maybe see movement over there, and then all of a sudden this helicopter comes in, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. I want to say Nigger Canyon, or I think it was Coon Canyon is what it was called. They have, I don't mean to use the N word, but we actually have a Nigger Andy Canyon over here, so that's where I got confused. But it's called Coon Canyon, and when these people are trying to get over to the United States, for like our ancestors who came over, like you and I are both part Native American and part something else. Everybody came here because they had a dream. They had a life that they dreamed about that they wanted to fulfill. And who are we to stop them? Like, we're from immigrants. Why do we have this big old issue? And I know there's different people that do get in and wreak havoc, cause crime, rape, murder, drugs, whatever. But there are really good, genuine-hearted people coming in trying to sustain their family, and they have that dream.
The thing is, see, the way my late grandfather, God bless him, explained it to me is, see, we came in the legal route. We didn't trespass, against the United States. We came in legally. We got all of our paperwork in order. We got all of our green cards in order. We got all of our documentation in order. We did this legally. We did not come in trespassing, and the immigrant ancestors I had in the 1630s, they came in long before the United States ever existed. This was a territory, okay? And my other native ancestors over here on the southwestern end, this was their country. This did not belong to Anglo, whites, whatever, okay? My ancestors came in by the book, okay? And that is the way I was raised to believe, is these people need to go back and go do this by the book.
Yeah, it's not that hard, and it's so much easier if you do. Life would be so much easier if you did.
Follow the laws, get in legally, get your documentation in order, get your green cards, do everything by the book. Do not come in illegally thinking you're going to get everything. Well, you're not, okay? I hate to say that, but they're not going to get everything. Sure, there are some legal and political factions that would love for them to get in, you know, illegally and then give them everything for free. But you know what? Pardon me, but you know what? That just freaking does not work. You don't get everything for free. It does not work like that.
No, it's not handed to you, and it's a good point. Like a lot of the immigrants that do come work in bean fields or orange fields or whatever
Right.
jobs that
And
people
that's
here,
respectable.
yeah, people here don't want to work, but they're like, I will do anything. I'm just trying to take care of my family. And today it's better to do this than back in the day when my Irish immigrant side of the family came over through Ellis Island and whatnot. And you're
Right.
telling someone what your name is, and a lot of times they'll write down the wrong name, and that's why it's been so hard for people to trace their lineage, because it's spelled completely different than what it's supposed to be, because that person heard you wrong, or they just didn't know how to spell, or didn't even ask, didn't even care to ask.
Right. And I'm a genealogist. I specialize in this stuff. I have been tracing my family roots, and now I have it kind of fully, completely traced. I'm still trying to get a few of the outlaws traced out by paper route. I have not had the time to really do it because of moving around and moving around and moving around. And maybe finally, once I can get settled, I can get their paper tracings and make this a lot easier.
Yeah, it's funny you're talking about outlaws, because I have some in my family too. My mother's grandfather, which was my great-grandfather, was an Indian outlaw, and they came
his
to
name?
I don't know, I have to look it up. That's part of the lineage that is hard to find because he was an outlaw. I heard that my great-grandmother actually shot him under this tree, and then she ran off in a wagon with all her kids in tow, and then she came to on this top of this hill, and that's where my grandmother built her house. I have to talk to my sister and get more information about that.
Get back on that, please. I'd like to know the name because it might coincide with some of my people. We have, and I'm going to name these out.
I think it's Evans. Evans was the last name, and then there was also Messer, but I think that's like the German part of it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Evans.
Evans?
My grandfather was Albert Elhanan Evans, and then we had some before that.
I have Jesse Evans as a friend of one of my cousins.
Wow, and that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was not related to me and mine, but he was a really close friend of our family way back here in New Mexico and Arizona, and his family owned a lot of the property and land. In fact, probably only second or third, I want to say, to John Chisholm, who is a cousin. Wow. And then I relate also into, and I'm going to name these people off, okay? I have Bonnie McCarty. Yes, Billy the Kid. You heard me right. Pat Garrett, another cousin, a couple times by marriage. Then I also have Wyatt Earp. He is my 9th biological great cousin, and his family, all of his brothers. I have Doc Holliday. Okay, I do have Doc Holliday. He is also a 9th cousin, biological. I have, and by the way, the Earps and the Holidays and the Hardins, John Wesley to be exact. John Wesley is my 14th cousin. Okay, he is my biological 14th cousin. And then I have Annie Oakley. She is a cousin. I don't remember how far back, but she is a cousin. I have Belle Starr. She is my 10th biological cousin. I have Jim July. He is a cousin by marriage. I also have the Reno Rain Crow out of the Cherokee, Western Cherokee people. They are my cousins. And then I also have the Daltons. Yes, the actual Daltons. They are my cousins. Jesse Woodson James is my great biological grandfather. and I am a 5th generation James. And I will explain the whole story on another thing. It's really long, really drawn out, but if you read one of the books, it'll make everything super clear. And then there is also, I don't remember now what the name of the show was, but it had something to do with him, and it further tied in and cleared up a dream that my grandfather had come to me in and told me a bunch of stuff, and there's some stuff I've got to go get back east. He actually said he hid part of his treasure and wants me to use it to jumpstart my future.
That would be amazing. Can I go? I can use my dowsing rods.
Absolutely. I know where it is. It's in Tennessee. Problem is, it is now on government property.
Holy shnikes. Okay, so our Sleepy Dave Davenport, he was telling me about something like this too. Like, it used to be his family's land, but now it's a park. And he knows that there's this buried treasure there because back in Civil War times and before then, people would put stuff in mason jars and bury them in different locations to protect themselves, you know, to have that money, because we didn't have banks. And if we did, they were getting robbed, and there was no such thing as bank insurance or anything. So people would bury it in the yard.
There was no law back either. There was no law back then. But there is like a trunk or a box of some kind. I do not know what this is. I have never been to this place, but he showed me exact location, and I actually saw this place on Destination Fear. It is in Tennessee, but it is on a state park now. And I'm like, no.
Rats!
So it is. Oh, darn it. I'm going to have state permission to go get it.
Yeah, get some sort of permit or something, and generally when you do, they're like, whatever you find, you have to hand in to us, and then you never see it again. Where's the fairness in that? That is your lineage. Yeah. That is your family, you know, history. That belongs to you. Right. I wouldn't say nothing. I'd be like, hey, I found these cool rocks. You want them?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know specifically what's in it, but he showed me some stuff that's like, anyone else, it's like, I didn't find not a damn thing.
That's right. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, did you find anything? Nope, didn't find nothing. Sorry. Tried, but came up empty. Yeah, right.
Drats.
What, ain't nobody knowing, ain't nobody hurting.
That's right. Well, on that note, sister, we do have to go to our second, actually, musical break. We have Prime Example, which one of the members of Prime Example is Quest, or aka Roy Washington, and he is the person that has given me all the music that I play on our musical break. So thank you so much, Quest, aka Roy Washington, for sharing the music, because for me, music is medicine. But we have Prime Example with Power Play. We have Dan Medina, which is actually a member of Gravity, which is from Krakow, Poland, with I Won't Let You Go. We got Fred Johnson III with After the Dark. And then Gravity again with My Last Goodbye. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
Misguided and misunderstood, till one day he cried out, Lord, save me, teach me the lessons of life, won't you raise me? Because I tried everything under my hat, and I found all my plans were tears in the right. I need a hero, a real life camaraderie, to step in to see me and deliver a power play. Something to raise my head from the dust. It's a must. I find someone in whom I can trust. I must grow in knowledge, live what I learn. I'm so glad to meet you, yo, my name is Vernon. Lead me any way that you're willing and I'll share. I need your power play. Here comes another one. so good to be clothed in your right mind. Dreams to the front and all past behind. Memories of things you did so absurd. Came to the curb, now heard was the word. Cause often we're low down, problems can grind us. But with power from God, yeah, we all still victorious. Listen to the seed, the knowledge and digest the real only. Cause a trooper like Jay keeps it righteous. And express a prime example of a vocalist, adjust your bubble. Leroy D is like dangerous trouble. Trouble if you want it, peace if you with it. Never before known of a man who can stand it, but so irrelevant. So kick it in if you will, Lord. And I shall. I need your power play. Yeah. Here comes another one. For the knowledge, and now you're not guessing. When power meets the darkness, the devil's got you go. That's my Weasel, and now he's going loco. If you got a problem, God can solve it. Power from the general, and you're in his outfit. Why must the fit stay dirty so filthy? Get off your rear and whitewash the pickings. Power for cleansing, power for sanitizing, power for us, power for the rising of the sun. Cause in your darkest hour, you can look up and express to feel the power up. I need your power play. Yeah. Comes another one.
Things can't be unsaid. Streets of these high going to dead end. Listening to waves on windy days. Standing by the wall, making sense of it all. So alone in the dark, all alone in the dark. All alone in the dark, you're alone in the dark. 'Cause I won't let you go. You're so far away, always with my soul. I won't let you go. Oh, you're so far away, always with me in my soul. Yeah, yeah. Looking for a reason, not a lead. Mystified, lives inside a world selling us all. Oh, she's alone in the dark, all alone in the dark, all alone in the dark, so alone in the dark. 'Cause I won't let you go. I won't let you go. You're so far away, always with me in my soul. Yeah, yeah. And I won't let you go. a series of pursuits. No matter what I say, after dark, I gave up base because she had the range. I knew she was the one that never could go home again. Plastic life like limo seats. I don't know why I can't control this urge to hurt again. Yeah, living at the dark, I search lonely streets to find hidden shadows in the dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Change the things that murder forever after. No matter what I say, after dark. Feeling ran to fragmented feel. Behind the place with days of December. Concerning works were meshed in my image. It doesn't matter what I say. It really doesn't. No matter what I say, after dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Secret homicides arranged in a series of pursuits. No matter what I say, change it in the sky, murder forever after. It doesn't matter what I say. Brooding fatal, lacking the hint of conscience. No matter what I say, after dark.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we had Mr. Michael W. Hall, who is the founder and director of the UFOI team. Second hour, we had the beautiful psychic medium Melissa Bryant on to discuss what's going on in her life today, and surprise everybody, Yvonne is on right now. She's called in and she has a story that she wants to share with us. Aloha, Yvonne, and welcome to the show.
Oh, aloha. And I'm finally finding my voice to share my experiences. You know, I just celebrated my 72nd birthday.
Holy
so it's kind of like,
happy birthday.
What the hell? Well, thank you, but since that upgrade, I've become much more, how would I say, a little bit bolder. You know what I mean?
Birthday.
What? Would you like me to continue my story?
Yes, ma'am.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. And so, I saw this, festival going on. It's in the early 1800s. I see this young girl walking towards the festival, but then I see two men following her.
Oh, no.
And they push her into this tent, and they began raping her.
Oh, my God.
That's terrible.
And then though, what happened is instead of me being the observer, I became her.
Yeah.
And I went through the whole experience of what she went through.
Did you get any sort of a PTSD from this because you actually went from seeing it to going into this person?
No, because of my training. I had received advanced. The military, when you enter, they test you up to the yin yang.
Yeah, I know.
How you can be utilized in the best way. And so they gave me the advanced training to become a triage nurse. And
That's
if you're familiar with
awesome.
what a triage nurse does, is I decide who gets treatment and who doesn't.
Yeah, that's so hard.
And I know for most people they think, well, how can you handle that emotionally, But when they tested me, they found that I can disassociate from my emotions, and I can make those very clear kind of decisions without my emotions interfering.
Well, that's
but
so
yet
awesome.
I'm very much aware of my emotions.
Yeah, being that you're empathic or gifted, it's awesome that you were able to do that, because for some empaths or gifted people, it's really hard to discern between your feelings and other people's feelings and to put that in a role. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing.
But so I'll tell you kind of like the end of the story. So they raped her, and then I became her. And when I was talking to that medium, she said, Yvonne, when a person is not the observer but actually becomes the person, when you go, to that, what you're doing now is you're reliving a past life. And then after that thing was all over, what I realized is that my paternal great-grandmother, when she was saying, where is my daughter, where is my daughter, she was looking for my grandmother who was her daughter. Because the one thing that put me on this, search, so to speak, of, well, what happened, I immediately got the sense that it was scandalous. That's why nobody knows her name. Nobody knows what happened to her. And so I've been on this over 15 years quest to figure out, to try to put things together.
Oh my goodness.
Because nobody even knew her name.
So I'm getting...
And what I found out...
What happened to her was like a dishonor to the family, and so they try to sweep it under the rug.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right, but and what it was is that she was raped by... She came from the Ferrande family, but the Ferrande and the Kaluya family are related.
Mm-hmm.
and that was the most, that was the horrifying thing about that, and that's why it was kept secret,
Oh,
type
goodness.
thing. But once I completed, so to speak, what happened in that, and how, and then I got the full understanding of why she was written off of family history. But what happened after that was remarkable, because I realized both of them are dead. My great grandmother and her daughter, my grandmother, are both dead. And so what happened is that they couldn't find each other on the other side.
Oh my goodness.
And because of my shamanic heritage, shamans, it's called like what you call a soul retrieval. But because, and usually with soul retrieval, what the shaman does is just hold a safe space for the person to relive the experience, okay? So that they're not split anymore. You know what I mean? They come back together, and that's what the healing is. But because both of them are already spirit, then somebody else had to take the place of going through that traumatic experience.
And that was you.
And that was me, because I'm a
Holy
shaman
shnikes.
too. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I immediately felt the peace that I said, oh my goodness, they found each other all these years. They had not been able to find each other on the other side.
Melissa, you were trying to say something real quick, and we couldn't hear you.
I totally understand. I understand the whole shamanic thing myself, because I'm 16th, maybe even 18th generation shamanic line from Grandpa.
Yeah. And what blew the medium away is that I'm having an afterlife, and we're in the same family, and it's, and it's, it's a little over 100 years now that I'm 72, but you know what I mean? But for me to come into my life was not 100 years, since my paternal great-grandmother lived. Well, maybe it was, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I realized that, wow, because I'm Catholic too, and when Jesus in the Bible said, in my Father's house has many mansions. Well, that kind of like, wow, that means there are different levels on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about religion, and it's music too. It's medicine for people. Different religions are different medicine. Like, people need these, and I think everybody has a little piece of the truth. And even though, like, I was baptized into and raised in the LDS church, I did visit so many churches, even especially when I went to the military. I'm like, I want to know what everybody knows. And I believe they all have a piece of the truth. If we could get past our egos as men and come together, we could get so far. It would be mind-blowing.
Yeah. But, I just really felt, I really needed to share that with people, to let them know that it's real. I mean, I've got the verification, and I'm not a nutcase, you know what I mean?
I know you're not, but some people make you feel like that. And we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, well, that's especially growing up so young with the gift. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we were kids, we'd try to share our stuff with other people, and they'd be like, hey, stay away from this girl, she's crazy. So we learned to keep it to ourselves, and then for me, in 2012, I was like, I don't care anymore what anybody thinks. I'm going to go out there and help people. And I'm so glad I did that, and I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing, and Melissa's doing what she's doing. It is so awesome that we're coming together and trying to help people.
Yeah. Right. Hey, Melissa, you need to give me your information.
Sure, absolutely.
Because I need to speak with an advanced, I mean, you sound like you're, I like your energy. but I do need to speak with a medium who's strong, because where I need to go, so to speak, the others have not been able to go.
After the show, get with me on Facebook if you can, if you have it. Otherwise, I'm going to have the lady that's doing the show, Tessa.
I'm going to share that with her right now.
Would you? Having my personal phone number other than,
No, I'm totally same here. You know what I mean? But I'm in like a totally different part of my journey now where I don't deal with people at all. Before I used to do healings and soul retrieval and people would ask for guidance. I'm in total solitude and quiet now.
Good. Yeah, I'm to the same place. I'm not dealing with anybody anymore. After this last go people, I'm done. I'm just
right. It's so hard sometimes. And it's easy to get overwhelmed. Like, I'm at the point right now where people are negative around me, and I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I cannot handle negativity right now due to what's going on in the world.
Well,
my grandpa dying and playing catch up. Yeah, it's insane what we're going through.
We're going through a convergence right now.
Yeah, so many uploads, so many downgrades, so many, like the Mars aligning with so many things, and Mercury and all these other things happening. It's one after the other, whether it's downloads, upgrades, so on and so forth. It's kind of overwhelming, and when negative people try to come into my realm right now, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I can't handle this right now. So I just love having you ladies on because you guys are positive energy, and I love it.
Just be aware that we're going through a convergence, and there's changes that need to be made by the humankind. And if we do not make the change that we need, then we can bend over and kiss our ass goodbye.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's how serious it is. I'm sorry for my language. I usually don't speak this way.
Well, it's okay. We're on the internet airwaves. We're not on a terrestrial station, so we can speak as adults, and I've even marked the show as adult appropriate and not for kids, so feel free to speak freely, because I understand when it comes to the paranormal and different things we're going through, different language does come out, and so I don't want to harm children. I want them to have the best, but I want us to be able to speak freely.
But this convergence is having to do with the COVID is the first thing. And then we saw in terms of nature with the fires. And now the third factor will be the environment. And it comes down to very basic things, okay, in regards to how we are with each other as human beings, how we are with nature, and how we are, in terms of the climate, the things that we've caused in the climate change developments. And it comes down in regards to going back to the very basics of how we treat each other. That is, we have to make choices.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're seeing, like, all this violence that's occurring.
Yeah, and we're being torn apart. Yeah, we're so segregated. And I'm like, I can talk about Civil War and Vietnam, and other times we have been segregated, but right now, what I'm seeing, we are so segregated on so many different points. This is the best time for them to come in and take us over, and that's what they want. So we need to ignore the whole politics and religion and work together, because we're stronger than this, and we can do it.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Well, for my family, not this point where we are now, is that my husband gave 110% for that fairgrounds park, and over a whole thing of masks, they kicked him in the teeth and kicked us out.
Oh my gosh!
Everything.
Yeah.
And after he,
we're mankind. Humankind has been fed all this garbage. That we're the highest on the chain of creation. Type thing and all, and that's a bunch of BS. Otherwise, mankind would not have gone through 5 extinctions. So if we don't get our act together mankind will experience a sixth extinction.
And I'm glad that you said that, because I've said that too. Okay, so scientists are like, okay, these dinosaurs lived at this certain amount of time. They're not testing the things around it, it's underneath, and they're actually, like, it was longer back than they thought. Even with humans, there's even tracks of humans right next to dinosaur prints in the magma or the mud from the mudslide or whatever. It's forever in history.
Exactly.
We've been here forever. We've rebooted so many times. Are we really going to do this again? Do we really got time for this? Like, we can get it together. We can do this. But it is insane how many people are blind. Like, you can even slap them in the face with the truth and they still won't see it.
Yeah. Humankind has to get over the idea, that we're on the top of the chain, okay? We're not. We're all on an even plane. We all just have different levels of expressing our skill or our gift.
And I know from talking to you in the past, you've been really hard at work trying to help others and guide them, like our ancestors, or people call them their guardians. Like, our ancestors are trying to help us through this because they've been through it, and they don't want you to make the same mistake. They want you to grow, adapt, overcome, and to get past this. And it's so difficult because, like I said, like, you and I are open-minded, and so is Melissa, and a lot of other people that are here on the show with us. Like, we see what's going on, we know what's going on, but like I said, you can slap somebody in the face with that and they're not even going to see it. Till they're blue in the face, they won't see it.
But one other thing I discovered about my gifts, well, I started thinking about, energy, that what is happening, like when I observed my nurses dealing with a patient, it dawned on me that there's something happening here. And then I realized there's an exchanging of energy. And so my whole concept, I see things, in terms of energy. But then just a few days ago, as I, during this period of quiet now, I've been going through like a life review, and I've been connecting all the dots of my experiences. And I suddenly realized that I work with energy, and my energy has different colors.
It's amazing though, like, we're talking about auras, and I can see auras off of plants and trees and other life forms. I'm like, we all have that spiritual energy. We all have that aura, or some people call it the light of Christ. We all have the light of Christ within us, which orates throughout us, and some people use it different ways. Some auras are darker, some auras have chinks in them. It's pretty interesting.
And and how I learned this is that my spiritual director, he was a Franciscan priest, and one of my nurses was sitting at the ICU desk observing me working on this patient who was at the terminal stages of his cancer. Okay, and he was on a respirator, and he was having a high fever that was not responding to anything we could do for him. So I came in to intervene in somehow, kind of thing. And I never know what my gifts are until I see the effect on the person, And so basically I took him to another place. I took him out of his body so he could get a break from his suffering and his fear. Okay? But my nurse told me this 5 years later or so, in which she said, you and the patient in that room, because it's all glass in the intensive care, that she and Father Harrington observed that we were surrounded by a white light. We were engulfed in it. And then my response to my friend,
they're like, how do you know? I don't know how I know. I just know.
We're not in there right now. I don't want to waste electricity. Oh, sorry. I was talking to my husband for a moment.
Yeah, and so So now I'm thinking in terms of how interesting. I do notice, people have seen when people who have the gift of seeing auras, they see me two colors in my aura. In terms of, one is the white, and this time it was coming from my hands, and then other people have seen me with like that gold yellow color.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I was thinking, gosh, all this time I never realized that the energy, when I was referring to energy, comes, is color. The aura is, the color of the auras. So then I started doing research, and I started researching on chromotherapy, and it totally coincided with what my thinking was starting to go towards, in terms of the different colors have a different effect.
They do.
In the work of healing.
Yeah. It's amazing.
But
like,
anyway,
I've
for me,
seen
that was
so many different entities and stuff, Yvonne. But my friend Kat, she was like my mentor. She was teaching me about crystals, about grounding, about shielding, so many different things. And a lot of times when I've lost people in my life, I see them in dreams or I see them in person. When she showed up, and it was the very same day she passed away, and this has never in the history of me happened, but she showed up to my daughter a couple times because she was worried about her. I gave her the option. I'm like, Nova, do you want to stay here and go through this, or do you want to go home? And she's like, no, I really want to be here for this. And I kind of wish at that point I would have said, no, I don't think you're ready. I think you should go home, and I'll let you know what happened. But I allowed her to stay. But later on that night, Kat appeared to my daughter twice. And then my daughter, Nova, she ended up crawling into my bed. She's like, can I please sleep in here tonight? Because I'm so scared right now, and I don't know what's going on. And she didn't, tell me exactly what was going on, but she said, I did see Kat twice. And so I'm like, yeah, it's all cool. Yeah. And so you know how you're sleeping and somebody turns on the light or somebody comes in your room or whatever?
Yeah.
Before I even opened my eyes, I saw this light coming through my eyelids. And so I sat up before I even opened my eyes, and then I opened my eyes and I look over, and there's Kat. Her hair is no longer short. It's long. It's got a braid through it along the top, and it's pretty and wavy. And after she passed, we had to clean her up and then put her in this outfit she picked, which was a white shirt and some white capris with sparkly little bottoms. But when I saw her, it was kind of like a old maiden sort of beautiful, beautiful princess dress. And she had this aura. Yeah. Oh, I got goosebumps right now. Oh, my God. She had this aura. What was the color of the aura? Her aura was very white light, and then there was streaks of silver through it, and then there was this, electric blue color. Oh, my God. I want to cry right now talking about it, but it was so amazing, and the smile on her face, you knew she wasn't suffering anymore. She'd educated herself to the point where she was not lost. She was there full-fledged, ready to be like, I got this, But it was just so amazing. It reminded me of one of those Catholic candles where you see the aura around the person. It was so beautiful.
But that kind of triggered in me, an understanding, because I realized when I was 14 years old, Tessa, I had a near-death experience. I was actually on the other side, walking towards the light. I had a pneumonia crisis, and then my mother found me, in the top bunk, and my mom's only 4'11", right?
Yeah, she's having to climb up and check on you.
Yeah. Well, my mom always did that before she retired. You know what I mean? She checked on all the kids.
She was a good mama.
She went to bed. And so she, and I remember coming home. It was a Saturday, and I told, Mom, I'm going to go take a nap. Because I was having problems with a bad cold, and I'd just come back from cleaning the church, and there's all this dust and dirt, and I just told her, I just need to take a nap. And then she noticed, I didn't come for supper. And so, she checked on me, and she said, I was in the bed. I wasn't responding. I mean, I was kind of moaning. I wouldn't wake up when she shook me, kind of thing. And my temperature was something like 104.6 or something.
Jeez, oh, Pete, you're like burning brain cells at this point.
Yeah. And so, but my mom has had so many crises with 6 kids. I mean, she knows how to handle it, right? So she worked through the night getting my temperature down. And while she was doing that, I was going like towards the light. And then just as I got to where I could see my hand was entering into the light, I heard my mom calling me, but it was so soft. You could barely hear it. It was like, Yvonne.
Yvonne.
So of course, when you're 14 years old and you hear your mom's voice, man, you stop
run.
dead in your tracks. You know what I mean? And then I realized that if I go all the way into that light, something told, I was talking to myself. I said, I don't think I'm going to come back. And so I turned around and I went back. And it was horrifying coming back.
Well, it's cool that you did that because a lot of people get to that point where they say there's this really bright, brilliant light and it's so warm.
Yeah.
And it's so comforting and you don't want to leave it, but then it will speak to you and say, okay, you have a choice. You can come here.
Yeah.
Or you can go back to your life and continue. And a lot of people are so overwhelmed by that feeling of being calmed and comforted and just wanting that, because that's all we really look for. I think the meaning of life is to find happiness and to help each other. And people don't understand it because it is so hard. But for people to come back from that and go back to life, that's pretty hardcore.
Well, it's really hard, especially like when you return and you slam. I mean, it's not a gentle return. You're literally
you slam back down in your body.
Yeah,
oh, dang, watch it, man. Jeez.
Holy shnikes. I gotta live in this thing.
Yeah. And as soon as you slam back to your body, you start feeling all those sensations of dying. I mean, I could feel my body just burning up. I could feel my labored breathing, and the pain
of being human.
To take any breath was like excruciating pain, But I survived, and then that whole summer I spent 17 days in hospital in total isolation. 17 days, and I was only like 14 years old, and I went, and thank God there was this librarian that would come, and she'd drop off books that I would read in 3 days or so, and then she gave me like jigsaw puzzles with 3,000 to 5,000 pieces, and I've had them all done by the end of the week.
Dang.
That library lady rocked. She kept you on your toes.
Well, because I was in 9th grade, so I was too old to be on pediatrics. So they stuck me on the ward with all these people with COPD, terminal state COPDers and lung cancers.
Aww.
You know what I mean?
I want to hug little Yvonne. I'm like, poor little Yvonne. I give you hugs.
I know what that feels like to walk between worlds. I mean, my MTEs, I was like between worlds for like, I don't know, a couple weeks, I think. You know? I mean, I wasn't here, but I wasn't there.
Yeah. But it was like, I mean, it and from that point on, 14 years old, and then I talked to my mom about it. And I asked her, it was years later, I was in college, I think. We sat down, talked coffee, and smoked a cigarette. And I asked my mom, when I was real sick, were you calling me? Because I could hear you, like, Yvonne. It was really
I see my kids all the time. They're like, hey, Mom, were you calling me? No. Oh, I heard you calling me.
And my mom was telling me, she said, Yvonne, I was not whispering, I was screaming in your ear.
Oh my goodness. Trying to get through
But
to you on the other side.
yeah,
And you heard it as a whisper,
yeah,
and she's screaming.
yeah. She said I was literally climbed up on the bunk bed with, whatchamacallit, and she said I was screaming in your ear. And I was telling her, yeah, you screamed like about 3 times. And she goes, yes, I did. And it's when after she stopped, she stopped the screaming, then my temperature started going down, and then my breathing became more regular. And then I found myself in the hospital the next day.
If you guys are big on Netflix or whatnot, but
human as a whisper, and we hear them as a whisper.
Yeah.
Only
I know, it's so insane. Like, her mom's screaming, and she's hearing it as, Yvonne. Yvonne.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's a scream.
Spirit hears us. They hear us as a whisper, but between me and Spirit, it's like I hear them like I hear you guys, and they hear me like, telepathically. I can speak normally to them, and they hear me full on. And it's really strange because, when we're crossing over and someone's screaming our name, they hear it as a whisper. But we're actually screaming our lungs out on this side.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing because even when you get EVPs, you hear it as a still small voice or a whisper. When in reality, this person could be screaming, trying to get their message across. It's amazing.
Right, exactly. And the one thing I came back with, like I was talking to my mom, I was telling her, Sarah telling, what, Mom, the one thing I came back and understood, that one thing that was left with me, that was the most important message I had to deliver. The most important thing is not your job, how much money you make, how much you accomplish in life. And I told my mom, what is the most important thing, Mom, is our relationship with each other. Your relationships are the most important thing. Like how we are with each other, Mom, that is the highest priority. And I had this understanding when I was in the 9th grade.
How you said before how you're like your own great-grandma, like you were her and now you're you. And it seems like every time we go through this life process, it circles. Yeah. So many people that are in our life right now, even you and I think we knew each other before. It's in circles, and we keep meeting, we keep learning from each other and propelling each other to get there to where we need to be.
Yep. But it's kind of like, during this whole before the COVID hit, I was so busy, Tessa. I mean, I was going here and going there, because I'm a dimensional traveler. And then one of the last tasks I did, before then I was, I wouldn't be doing so much astraling or dimensional jumping. I was leaving like energy supply, so that my energy supply scattered in different places in the dimensions, so that somebody who comes and needs the energy boost could tap into it. And it's kind of like how, like when you have those immigrants trying to cross the Mexican border, and then people left water for them to find.
Yeah,
well, it was
so
kind of
nice.
like that, but I was leaving my little energy supply so that those who will go to the other dimension that need a boost, then they could tap into it. Isn't that remarkable?
It really
what
is.
we can do?
And I was just kind of taken aback and thinking about different things, and I'm trying to retrace what I was going to say before, but the time we're in right now, I don't know about you guys, but I've been baptized, or some people call it reborn, and into a certain church, but all throughout my life I sought out different churches to try to find the true message, and I think everybody has it, like I said before, but it's just amazing what comes through. Like we're saying, EVPs, it's like a whisper, even though they're screaming. you can hear it.
Yeah.
Sometimes with your own ear and it doesn't get recorded, or sometimes it gets recorded and you don't hear it as a very small whisper.
Yeah.
And it takes that certain amount of energy to be able to do this. But I don't know. I'm so glad that we have found each other, that we're here for each other to get through this and to share our stories with each other where we can collaborate and know we're not fucking crazy. Like, this shit is really happening.
Yeah. I mean, for me, because it was, it happened to me. I mean, for me, that's reality. And I try to tell people, like, because my specialty in nursing, because I don't have any fear of death, I'm able to help people to transition on the other side in peace.
Mhm.
That's the gift I bring to the bedside. I bring peace. In other words, and so their fear of death, their anxiety about it, dissipates when I'm working with them.
Mhm.
But oh gosh, I'm so glad I shared this. This is spontaneous. I mean, I just saw that you had a show, so I was checking in.
I'm so glad you saw it and that you called in. And I even told Melissa that I'm so grateful and so glad you called in, because I felt so alone. Like, I'm about to bore the pants off of everybody reading from this book, which is called Urban Legends, the as complete as one could be guide to modern myths. And it's interesting how it started out, especially with Sleepy Dave, or if you want to call him Jason. He does his Coffee with Sleepy Dave, and then he has just recently started to do Minuteman Ministries with Jason, and he's doing such a good job. And he's like, I'm not sure if that's going to collude with your paranormal stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Religion is so important when it comes to this stuff. People need religion. They need their faith. They need so many things. So I'm not going to chop your head off. I'm not going to make you pay what I pay for Spreaker and stuff. You can do that on my platform. I want you to put that out there because people need it.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing where I felt uneasy, is because I was raised as a Catholic. You know, I also spent time in the religious life as a novice. To have a spiritual practice is what I was, my thing to learn was to be, get a discipline of a spiritual practice so that I could continue my journey, very, safely, so to speak. And it really pains me that, people, as soon as, like, that's why I don't call God when I'm speaking about spirituality. I refer to
that's
this
my Heavenly
energy
Father.
as
My Heavenly Father.
The spirit, but it saddens me. But I think what we're going through in terms of this convergence and having to make some really serious choices, there's I hope people will open up, to spirituality, because spirituality is separate from religion. It's your own personal relationship with a being that created you.
Well, and it's funny because a lot of people are like, okay, so my niece, I talked to her last night. Her mom has an issue, and I needed to reach out to her. So I called her, talked to her, and we're talking about religion. And she's like, well, God doesn't even have a sex. Well, he does. It's our Heavenly Father. We do have a Heavenly Mother, but he doesn't speak of her because look at how everybody uses his name in vain. He does not want that for his wife because he respects her as such. So there's that one scripture where it says, me, you, her, him, we, us, like, this is a kind of like not a replacement, but an image of us that we're projecting.
Yeah.
He puts himself forward to where people do hate him for things that have happened. Like, I hate you, you took my father. or I hate you, now I'm in a wheelchair, or whatever the process may be.
Yeah.
But he doesn't put her
Yeah.
into it. She exists. I know she does. But he respects her
Yeah.
enough that he's not going to put her
Yeah.
out there to where people can downgrade her and use her name in vain, because he respects her that much. We are made in their image. And
Right.
a lot of people have this problem with color and problem with people being gay. You know, there's so many spirits out there trying to get into bodies. Who's to say the wrong spirit
Right.
got into the wrong body? Like, you could have a female spirit going into a man body, or, like I was saying earlier, the Native Americans call it twin spirit. Love is love to me. You have love in your heart. That's all that matters. Like, we're supposed to love each other as we would love ourselves. And if you have love in your heart for somebody, that's all that matters. Like, to me, it's not perverse.
Yeah.
If it's, from an adult to a child, to me, that is not good. But if it's two human beings, adult human beings, sharing this love, it is awesome and epic. And it should be. Who am I to say that's wrong? Because it's not.
Right. Well, for me, it's kind of like I went through the whole 8 years of Catholic school. You know what I mean? And for me is we were given a free will. And I was just discussing it with people, my friends, and I say, and so we have the free will to choose even to sin. That was our gift. God gave us the gift of a free will.
Yes,
you know
and
you
can do that. You can sin, and you can do things.
So for me, it's like, I respect that. Just
you
as
can
much
make
as
a
I get the
mistake.
Constitution.
If you learn from it, it's not a mistake anymore. It's a lesson.
Right. And I remember, like, in elementary school, and what I learned, the way they taught God back in the 50s, was like this wrathful God. You put one toe on a line and you're going to be struck down. And then for first grade, second grade, I didn't experience the spirit in that way. And I was totally confused. And I remember at recess time, like, I would have I didn't understand something about what catechism we just learned. It didn't make no sense to me. So I discussed it, among ourselves at recess. And I would tell my classmates, you know what I don't get? You got the Trinity concept. You got the Father, the Son, and then all of a sudden the third person of the Trinity is some bird. I said, don't make no sense to me that you got the Father, the Son, and all of a sudden you got a bird.
It's the Holy Ghost. It's the inner voice that you hear. Could be your guides, could be the Holy Ghost. Like, it's the inner voice you hear, not a bird. It could project itself as a bird or whatever it decides to project itself as, but it is the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. Well, this is where my meditations have taken me for years, okay? And I said, no, something's not right. Given especially the sexism, within the Catholic Church itself, in terms of women's roles in the church. And I said, no, that don't make no sense. I mean, I have a very linear brain, you know what I mean? 1 + 1 = 2, And so my position of thought was, you got the Father, the Son, the third person should be Mother. Because where do we have the first experience of unconditional love? Is within the family. And so for me,
from what I have come to realize, it is Mother God, or as what I know the name of is Asna, Mother Asna. And Mother Asna, it's also the embodiment of Mother Mary and Pele and of, all these beautiful maternal figures.
Yeah.
By different names, of course, within different cultures. It's all the same individual.
Yeah. And also the way my logical brain works too, the way I also then reinforce that way of thinking, that the third person of the Holy Ghost is the Virgin Mary, is because my thing was only God can beget God.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
And a
that's
lot of people
how,
curse him
I
when they go through
concluded.
hardships, you know what I mean? Like when my dad died, I was so pissed off. Like he was doing things to
Yeah,
take care of himself, and he's like, okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna go get checked out for this liver transplant. And the night before he left, he didn't take his pills, and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? You need to take your pills. Like he had a
yeah,
whole ice cream bucket full of pills he had to take, and he's
yeah,
like, well, I just want them to know how bad off I am, really, when I get there.
yeah,
And had he not done that, he would have
yeah,
lived, but he wanted them to see how bad he was. And when
yeah,
you get
yeah.
used to taking certain
Oh,
things, your body depends on it, and if you don't put it
hmm,
in there anymore, it's going to shut down because it's going to get confused. And he didn't realize
yeah.
that, and he went through some really gnarly bad stuff on his way out. And I wish
He
I
was
could have
really
been
brittle.
there. Yeah, I wish I could have been there for
Yeah,
him through that, but he's like, Sissy, you don't need to be here to see this. This is really terrible, and I don't want you
yeah,
to be here. And I'm like, Dad, I will go right now to be there with you. And he'd rather be alone than for
yeah.
me to be there. But it's hard for us to see. I believe everything happens for a reason. All throughout my life, it has been
Oh, yeah,
proven. No matter how good or how bad something is that happens in your life, it
hmm,
is for a reason. And you don't realize it
yeah,
sometimes at first, but later on you're like, oh my gosh, that's why that happened.
yeah, yeah. But it's kind of like, when I look over through my journey, and realizing, well, this aspect of myself was kind of kept, hidden. I didn't talk about it too much. You know what I mean? I could speak to it, with my spiritual director, type thing.
I'm just
But
so
I
glad,
I
like,
pretty much kept it to myself.
yeah, I'm just so glad that before your lifetime is over, you're able to come out with that and you've helped. I don't know the numbers, but I know that you have helped so many people.
Really?
Yes, you have. The different things you've
But
told me, the different
am
people
I
that
to
you've
get
spoke
back?
about helping,
Yeah,
you have really helped so many people. And even me just listening to what you're going through, like I'm so amazed and
yeah,
proud of you. And I know you've helped people because I know you've shared that wealth of information you have. Like you're at the point right
hmm,
now, you don't care what people say anymore. Like you're just sharing it because
yeah,
you know it's true. It's the truth. And sometimes that's hard to
yeah.
swallow, but you're doing it anyways.
Well, I feel, hey, 72 years old, you can do damn well what you please. I don't
Yeah.
give a crap. I mean, if you're having a difficult time with it, well, that's your problem to work out, not mine. You know what I
No, but
mean?
you can give them the stepping stones or let them know this is happening for a reason.
Right.
Like it can be really, really hard right now and you can't see the light, but
Yeah.
you will. You will
Right.
see what it is eventually, unless, like my brother, he's always, like throughout his life since he was a teenager, been on meth. It's hard if you're constantly
Yeah.
doing that to see what's going on because you're being obstructed by that drug that is taking you over. If you
Right.
let it go for a little bit
Yeah.
and actually see what's going on, you can see what is really there. But it's hard for some people
Right.
to really get it sometimes.
Well,
It's really sad.
what I also think it is that people think that, well, everything's going to be like in a little nice little box of understanding.
Right?
And
With a
they
little
don't
nice
want
ribbon on it.
anybody to upset that little box because they're going to have to start working
Hmm.
on themselves. You,
And
you
people
understand
these
what I'm trying
days,
to say?
they want stuff handed to them. No, that's not how it works. You
Right.
gotta work for it.
I mean, I didn't get to my place. I mean, I have not suffered as severely as other people have. Okay, but I've had my share of, because of my gifts at such a young age, I was misunderstood a lot.
Hmm.
Oh, because
Yeah, we were the weird
I was
kids.
also, because I was because I'm telepathic too. And when you're a little kid and an adult is talking to you, I felt threatened. And I didn't realize I'd switch into the telepathic mode. And so when I'm
Right.
talking to the adult or trying to explain, I'm responding to what I picked up telepathically. And then the adult would get upset with me,
Oh man.
and they would tell my parents that why they're punishing me is because I was insolent.
Right, and they didn't like it.
You know, but I didn't know that I was picking up in their head, you know, that they were calling me a liar. So I told, you know, and so when I thought I heard them say that they were calling me a liar. And so I would tell the adult, I am not a liar. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth.
Right. Whether you
Then
like
I
it or
think
not,
the
this is
adult.
the truth.
And it got the
And people
adult
hate
really
that.
scared.
Yeah, they hate it. It's
You
really
know?
hard to swallow sometimes. But I have to say we are at the end of our time, believe it or not. So,
Oh, okay.
Melissa, first I'll go to you and ask you, how can people contact you and communicate with you online?
Well, they can get a hold of me through Facebook and any social medias. I'm on everything, including all the free speech sites and all that. I have accounts with everybody. You can get a hold of me anywhere there's social media. You can get a hold of me at 541-833-3069, extension 0. And at my website, https://psychicmom2017.wix, Whiskey Iris X-ray, site, SITE, Samuel Iris Thomas Edward, all one word lowercase, .com/Melissa Bryant.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Wow.
And how about you, Yvonne? How can people contact you to share their stories or experiences that might be similar to yours?
Oh, well, I'm on Facebook. Yvonne Kaluya, YVONNE, Kaluya, CALUYA. And then there's my picture. I'm Filipino with long black hair.
Beautiful.
And I'm the only Yvonne Kaluya. I mean, and it's got my picture, though. Make sure it has a picture, you know.
Yeah. And if you guys
so
have
you
a hard
can
time
contact
finding
me
her.
and message me on Facebook.
Yeah, and
Pardon
if you
me?
guys have, I was going to say, if you guys have a hard time finding her, just look on my friends list and look for Yvonne Kaluya. And, yeah, you can find her. And you guys are amazing. You ladies, I'm so proud of you. And I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for calling in and helping me to not be alone on the show and boring the socks off of people.
Okay, take care. I love you.
99 11 E2, and I hope to talk to you soon. And thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, iHeartRadio, and wherever else beyond the Omniverse you're listening tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again next weekend when we have Jason, Hollywood 5, and Craig on, as well as, oh my goodness, we got some alien stuff going on the 18th, and I don't have a name written down. I lost my calendar. I don't know where it went. But don't forget, you guys, we are all in this together. Together, we can make the world better, and together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We got Sleepy Day